So there are 2 kings.
What if you have a 4?
There are 2 murderers in their midst.
You did a whole pantomime en masse when as Henry said Mark was dead.
I still don't really get it.
Please close your eyes.
What have I missed?
No idea.
You were really convincing.
So how long has this been going on?
It's kind of personal.
We're family.
It's a game. Don't take it personally.
To what?
To have threesomes.
How romantic.
Ralph's the least like your father of any of you.
Is that why he's your favourite?
Sorry, what?
What the?
So would you have killed me?
Oh my god!
That's enough! You're all wrapped up in your own outraged little world.
Hi and welcome to the SohoLIFF Spotlight. I'm Liz Farahadi and I'm very excited because I am joined with the wonderful cast and crew from Mafia, which is a very serious, sensible film.
Very, very serious.
Very, very. Would you please each introduce yourselves and say what your role is?
My name's Tom Ward Thomas. I wrote the film and I am playing the role of Ralph.
Fabulous.
Amazing. Hi, I'm Lottie Tolhurst. I am an actress and I play Chloe in this film.
Hi, I'm James Cleave. I'm the director of Mafia.
Amazing. So, love this film. Everyone watched this and we all laughed. We went, oh, yes, a comedy that's funny. That's quite hard to pull off,
Usually
isn't
the goal,
it?
but
Yeah, it's the goal, but trust me, it's not always the result. So, first initial sort of parts of it, it feels a little bit like The Traitor.
Yes.
Was that intentional or is that...
Not on my part.
No.
I've never seen The Traitors.
What?
No, I've not watched it yet.
Are you serious?
I will.
Because after you sent me this, I started watching it because I thought it'd be, before we filmed it, you sent it to me and I was like, oh, this looks interesting. And this reminds me of anyway, I watched it. I ended up binge watching the whole thing. And I think I phoned you the next day. I stayed up till 7 a.m. the next morning because I got obsessed with it.
It's really good. There's no copyright infringement intended, just so you know. I've been playing Mafia for years, various Hogmanays in Scotland for New Year's parties and stuff. There's a whole group of us play it, and it's always something I always find is quite a good big group party. Unless you're kicked out really early, then you have a very, very slow night.
So just to ask, it's a real game?
Oh, yeah.
It's a real game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So sorry, I suppose we should back up here because anyone watching this doesn't know what the film is about.
Yes.
Can we give, without giving anything away, just like a little one-line snippet? Or it doesn't have to be one line, but...
It's a family dinner, so 3 siblings have come home to their mother's house, the house they grew up in, with their partners, had a boozy dinner, and they play a game called Mafia, which is all about... It involves lying and deceit and tricking each other, and then some of the lies become quite real and some real secrets are exposed and some relationships are very threatened.
Yeah, and I mean, the story goes into a very different energy, doesn't it? And about sort of different attitudes, sort of generational sexual attitudes and things as well.
Yeah.
I mean, was this what motivated you with the story? Or is that something that just came when you were writing?
Yeah, it came when I was writing. I think some stuff just came about. I'd written some character bios for all of them, and just I think some of my own personal grievances and some things that other people kind of talked about and things that came up, and it was interesting. I had to tell my family that it's not based on you. It's not based on you. But there are elements. There are elements.
I think the beauty of this actual film is that everyone can associate an element of each of the relationships, whether or not it's with the parents or it's with the boyfriend, your boyfriend or your girlfriend. There is definitely an element that you can identify. And I think that's why it's strong as a piece. And there's an element of realism, even though it's a comedic drama, what you want to call it. But I think everyone can associate themselves with at least one person.
Oh, I absolutely agree. And you look at it, and it is every family, isn't it?
Dysfunctional.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's also, I mean, it sort of deals with ageism as well,
Yeah.
doesn't it? I mean, was that attractive as an actor wanting to work in it as well, or?
I mean, for me, just so much fun because there's, like you say, like love my family. Families are complicated.
Oh,
And like it was one of those scripts where I read it and I was, I just think it's like wonderful and fantastic how, or not so wonderful, I don't know, how with your family you know each other so well that you know exactly how to push each other's buttons and how to get under each other's skin. So like normal conversations that like between two friends would be fine. When you put family members with years and years of history and like siblings' judgment and like all those little stories, like the narratives that you tell yourself of like, oh, that person thinks I'm a failure and this person thinks like I'm a goody two shoes or whatever, and you compound that and partner relationships and new people coming in. I can't remember your question, but
it's great. Just go with whatever it is.
You have a shorter fuse with your family at times, and I think that's what it is. It's like you said exactly right. They know exactly how to rile each other up. They know exactly where their failures are and where their strengths are, and they're all competing to be mummy's favourite. At the end of the day, they're all competing to be the best, and that's something that anyone who has siblings will know, that they will always compete for favouritism, even though it doesn't exist in most families. It's very, very fair, but there's always that element of so and so loves my brother more, or so and so loves my sister more, or whatever it is, and you're like, I'm going to prove them wrong. I'm better, and that's a lot of this script that I loved. Was just a lot of the cattle prodding is probably the correct term, because it really isn't gentle. It's like I'm going to dig in there.
yeah.
Well, it's also that thing, isn't it? It's like, when you're 10 and your parents are still treating you like you're still that, and what happens? You start behaving like that.
Yes, you descend back to childhood roles.
I mean, I can't say I understand that at all. I'm very professional.
Oh no, I mean, you captured it just brilliantly. I'm so, like, all of you are just fabulous in it, and it's so funny. It's very bourgeois.
Oh.
Was that purposeful, or?
It was supposed to be we pictured it. I think that it was kind of somewhere out in the countryside, and it was a house they all grew up in. And that was, I suppose, I don't know. I suppose I'm from a sort of background where we kind of bit of a posh,
Working class posh.
So it's kind of, I suppose. I don't really know. It wasn't intentional. I think it was a bunch of people who kind of are just sort of, they're not got the big things to worry about at the moment. They're just sort of having dinner, and they're having sort of fun time, but not so fun time, and their relationships are sort of struggling. And also people kind of might get married for the right or wrong reasons, or people sort of are in relationships and they're kind of exploring things. And I think you have the freedom to do that a lot more when you're kind of in this sort of, you've got this loving family dynamic, so you feel more comfortable with, I don't know, doing certain things. And I think, I don't know what I'm talking about really now.
It's all good. It's all good. So let's talk about, obviously there's quite a lot of sexual stuff in there. So how was that, writing that without actually offending anybody, but tapping into lots of sort of different bits? Because it
was the direction.
I think when you say offending,
well, we're in, like, a society now. We've got to be really careful what you say and get cancelled and all of that. But you've managed to tap into loads of different things, with it being really all in touch, really.
Yeah, I think for me it's sort of slightly in that world myself, as in I'm bisexual. I know kind of people who've been in open relationships, and the idea of having threesomes and doing that kind of stuff and exploring different ways of sex and different ways of being in relationships. So I felt comfortable with writing that kind of stuff because and I can take the piss out of it and take the piss out of elements that I know about myself. So if I'm offending any aspect about kind of bisexuality, well, that's me, so I can do that. sort of thing.
Well, no, it's great because it's also real and natural. It doesn't feel, you know, sometimes some things feel like it's someone going, I'm going to go out there. It's not. It feels very family and natural, and you sit there and you go like, oh God, I know what it's like when those things come up, and like, oh.
And then we had Fabrizio, who's an openly gay man as well, so you know he read the script and he thought it was all above board as well. It's very important to get the balance quite right,
isn't it?
But we wanted it to get right, but we don't necessarily want to appease everyone. You know, it's going to annoy some people for sure, because they're like, well, that's not my experience with bisexuality, but like anything, it's a spectrum, and people will identify to certain parts, and I think that's what Tom's done so well there, and obviously everyone who's been part of that community.
Yeah, no, it totally works. It is. It's brilliant. So we've heard all the wonderful things. Was there any challenges? Oh, okay. This sounds interesting.
Mainly technical, if I can jump in here. The difficulty of this particular shoot was we had 2 days. A single camera.
You did that in 2 days?
2 days.
Wow.
2 days single camera, and it was 98 setups.
Whoa.
So we had a very specific plan, me and the DOP, Paul O'Connell. I've worked with him for years. He's fantastic. And we basically lit for the room, and then we tweaked. But what we had to do was, because of the way that the tables work and all of the eye lines that we had to worry about, it's such a rapid fire story that you can't really give anyone, like in 12 Angry Men, you can't just sit on someone and do a really nice move for a page and a half of dialogue, because they've got 6 words until someone's being yapped at someone else across the table until they're to there. So there's this cross dialogue that's happening all the time, and we had to make sure that eye lines worked. So we couldn't just do very boring coverage of wides and just 2 shot, 2 shot, 2 shots. So I came up with sort of an 8 corner situation around the table. So if you imagine there's a table right in front of us here, so that's shot or set up 1, and we do a wide of the whole angle, so we've got all those eye lines from that side, but every 4 corner will have at least 1 take of 22 minutes with pickups in one go, so that we could get that. If we were getting stuck between eye lines, between someone talking in sort of, you know, having a conversation, we could then come out into the wide and then back into the next eye line, so that it wasn't as jarring to the audience, so that it was the right to left, left to right. Sorry, very, very technical.
No, but that's fascinating.
But my brain was an overdrive, so I've sort of had like a list of what shots. I shot list the entire thing with the dialogue, so I knew what shots were required for the script, because it was 22 pages, and then we sort of figured out a way, so like set up 1, and then we had over this shoulder, over this shoulder, over this shoulder, so 8 over the shoulders essentially. But we didn't shoot everything because we had 2 days, so we had to pick elements of, well, you're going to be talking to this person over these lines, right? So the cast were immense. So we broke down the script, the 22 pages, into A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to double figures. And we're like, right, everyone, we're going to be doing A to B, or we're going to do D to F. Let's roll the camera for this dialogue. Got those performances, they're amazing. And again, they knew exactly where they were in the script. You know, every time everyone was off book, which helped. And I think if the cast hadn't turned up, we would be in real trouble.
But it helps to have the cast there.
I mean, in terms of like performance turning up.
No.
Because turning up is one of the things, But if they hadn't learnt the lines, then we would have really had it wouldn't have been possible.
Oh God, I mean, that's where where you can tell. I mean, you're incredible in it, really incredible. I mean, it's like what you've just described to me there. I'm like, okay, so that wasn't improvised then, because it looks so natural.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah, it does. It looks so natural. You could believe that it was improvised. But from what you've described, I would say it wasn't. Or if it was, you'd be grey by now. Still filming.
These are highlights, just so you know. It was that was the technical challenge, but I think that was really it. It was lack of time. Yeah. We didn't have the space for 2 cameras. If you have 2 cameras, then you're suddenly shooting, and then you have the amount of footage. I mean, we had 236 shots in the edit for 22 pages. That's what me and the editor went through and marked up, because there's so much dialogue. So even if it's
it's very dialogue based, isn't it? Yeah.
So
very impressed.
So
so glad I didn't have to do
grey on the inside.
Post of all. So what's next? What are you planning to do with it?
Well, these festivals, so we'll see how it goes. around the festival circuit, but I'm wanting to try to write a feature version.
Oh, lovely.
Which I'm going to write it as a film, but I'm going to also make it adaptable to be a theatre show as well.
I can see it very much as theatre, actually.
But I'm going to write it
amazing.
as a film, and there'll be
Yeah.
2 more. I'm thinking there's going to be 2 extra characters in it, and the game will go a bit longer.
And we have 4 days.
Yeah, 2 more characters, and then yes, but that would be a long shoot, and there'd be breakout rooms because there'd be people storming off and trying to sort it out. So I've got an idea of where it could go, and it could go a little darker as well. I think with worse consequences of what happened.
Oh,
the
I'm
game.
excited for this.
So-
I'm going to hold you to this now.
Yeah,
It's like, if
yeah,
there's
that's
not a
the
feature
plan.
film made by next month, I'll be shocked.
Easy, I'll shot this.
Yeah, it's nothing. It's so easy to make a film, isn't it?
Anyone could do it.
So, to wind up, the last question. Why are film festivals so important?
People get to see what we do, what we love to do. We love making films, and we can put it online and hope 3-4 people will watch it. But festivals get people together. It gets filmmakers together. It gets fans together. It builds an audience, builds a fan base. But also, mainly, it's just to meet people. I think that's what I love about festivals, the networking, because you never know who you meet, who you might want to work with again. Or for the first time, you might like someone's aesthetic in a particular film. They were really good. I want to find out who they are, and I'm going to cast them in my next thing. And I think that's a really beautiful thing about film festivals.
Oh, it's lovely, the relationships that get built, isn't it? And the films and projects that get made from them all. And how did you hear about the SohoLIFF?
I think
No, go on, no, you.
I don't know how I heard about it. I think I knew about it. I don't know how I heard about it. I can't remember. It was a
Because
long
it's
time
the
ago.
best film festival in the world.
It's a good film festival, and it was. I think I heard about it. Yeah, I heard about it a while ago. Yeah.
Soho's the best part of London. It's my
Yeah.
favourite part of London. So any excuse to be part of Soho.
There you
is
go.
Great. Love it.
But it's also the whole short films thing, as in feature films are so hard to make, and you have to get investors, and it's so making a short film is not easy, but it's significantly easier.
Yes.
And these are the homes of short films, so you can see a completely different. It opens up the gate to so many sort of different styles of filmmaking, and I think it's a really good thing to see the creativity and see different styles and see different programs, and you don't really get to see short films anywhere else.
No, and it's
so-
maverick, isn't it? Like short filmmakers, like you say, it's not having any money and going right. I'm going to make something with this. We'll get creative. We'll do something a bit different, because it's a massive art form. It's a skill.
And there's so many talented people out there.
Oh,
I mean,
aren't
honestly,
there?
and as I said, as you were saying, you'll watch so many different styles, and you think that was a really good shot. How can I adapt that maybe down the line to something that I might want to do? And that's what I like watching films for in general.
Oh, perfect. Well, look, thank you so much. You have to watch this. It's called Mafia, and it's brilliant. It's so funny, and it's just everything about it's perfect. Done an incredible job. Thank you very,
Thank you.
very
Thank
much
Thank you very
for coming
much.
down.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.